The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
TBS, America's #1 independent television network, presents the following sports exclusive.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
and this is Andy, and you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
All righty, here we are.
Yo, yo, yo.
Hello. Happy Black Monday, everybody.
Yeah. How many coaches did we lose in the process so far?
5? 4? 4 coaches?
Sounds right. It was Zimmer, Nagy, Flores, Nick Fangio. Joe Judge still has a job for some reason, but that may.
How in the hell did that? How did Flores get fired and Judge still has a gig? How did that even happen?
Well, the Giants GM retired, right? Not Edelman. The guy.
Shuttleman or something like that, or Fettleman.
Yeah.
Gentleman.
Gettleman.
It was Gettleman or Gettleman. Or
Gettleman. Right
Gettleman. There we go.
So
he found one there somewhere.
So I imagine they will hire a new GM, and that GM will probably hire a new coach.
Well, didn't Mara say he has confidence in Joe Judge?
Yeah, well, that's always the thing that happens before they get fired, right? Is the vote of confidence.
I don't know. Like it seems like if the Giants stick with Joe Judge and they deserve the irrelevancy that they get.
Well, you know, Mike, that there are guys that are willing to take a pay cut to come back and play for him.
Are there now?
Guys are telling them all the time how much they want to come back. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Joe Judge's next move would be to run for president, but that's just me.
But yeah, Flores getting fired was a bit of a shock.
Yeah, I mean, considering they just beat the Patriots again, they're
considering that
Tua's 3-0 against the Patriots in his time as a Dolphin,
and they're and considering how they ended the season, like I know they didn't make the playoffs, but 9-8 after being 1-7 is not a bad. That's not too bad.
Yeah, they do 8-1 the rest of the way, right?
8-1.
They would have made the playoffs if they could have beaten the Titans last week. Like if they had completed that 9 in a row, then yeah. But
I mean, you could say that maybe don't be 1-7 to start.
No,
off.
that's true. That's true. But it's I don't know. It the thing. I guess the thing that really makes it a head scratcher is that the Dolphins owner, fired him, and then was like, he flat out told the media, like, I don't have a I don't have a replacement in mind. It's like, oh, we're going to do a coaching search. It's like, I don't think Brian Flores was that bad of a coach that you could afford to fire him without at least a replacement lined up.
As somebody else on Twitter said too, if the guy you fired instantly becomes like the #1 head coaching candidate on the market, you probably fired the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Who's out there right now that's a better option than him?
Yeah, right? I mean, you could say
guys, Urban Meyer's right there.
Oh man. Hey, you see
what that Jacksonville team did. I mean, it's inspired.
It's Miami, right? So plenty of clubs for him to grind up on the 20-year-olds.
I believe the Dolphins owner also had a quote in the press conference of, "I won't be the guy to take Jim Harbaugh away from the University of Michigan."
Good.
Right.
Yeah, he likes Michigan. He wants them to.
Well, that's his alma mater.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I know.
I don't.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say he's as original as the rest of them. Then go ahead.
Yes, a lot of the speculation was that Flores was one of those reluctant firings because they felt like they had a sure connection to Harbaugh. But from what I have read today was that it was related to, I guess Flores he kind of was a brusque personality, didn't get along real well with a lot of people.
What? He's a Belichick coaching tree person? Was brusque and didn't get along with people?
Well, from what I've read, it was he didn't want Tua. He wanted Justin Herbert, and yet they took Tua.
Wow, who could have seen that?
I mean, this is all he said, she said, finger pointing shit,
Right.
you know. But they said they didn't like the way he was developing some of his players, yada yada. I don't know. I think there is.
I've heard that Tua doesn't like him. Like it was the other way around. Like Tua didn't like him. Which, if that's the case, that seems like kind of a bad. Like one, I don't think you should be. I think it rarely ever works out where when you start letting players pick the coaches. And
What I would love is if Flores bounces back to Jacksonville.
Oh.
And then somehow the Jaguars make the playoffs again before the Dolphins do.
That'd be. I mean, a lot of the players in this interesting, day and age of every player has Twitter now. You get like immediate reactions from a lot of these guys, and so Flores had a lot of guys that were not happy. That he got fired.
Look, like obviously, as Zach said, like the big thing, they started 1-7 this year. Not great. If they win just one of those 7 losses in their first 8, they make the playoffs. But but at the same time, you look at it and it's like, I remember what this Dolphins team was before he got there, and it was pretty dire. He came in, year 1 was a complete tank rebuild. Year 2, which was last season, pretty good season, all things considered. They only lost out on a playoff spot on a tiebreaker.
Well, and here's some of the games in that early stretch.
Mm-hmm.
They lost at the Raiders by 3 points. One of the many, 3 points and less games the Raiders won this season. They lost at home to the Jags by 3 points, and
that's kind of inexcusable.
That was in London, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah, you're right. That's in London. And then they lost at home to the Falcons by 2.
Mm-hmm.
So Falcons, Jaguars, Raiders. I mean, the Raiders made the playoffs, but okay. Jaguars, Falcons. Those are 2 games you got to win. Done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say
you win those, you're in the playoffs. Easy. Done.
I wouldn't say that losing to the Falcons is a horrible loss, like say the Colts losing to the Jaguars on Sunday was. But yeah, you got to win those games, and they didn't. And I don't know. I just think that a team that. But
I just think that given where the franchise was and where the franchise is, Brian Flores is not the coach you fire unless you've got a really solid alternative, in the pipeline where it's like, yeah, we know who our guy is going to be, and it doesn't appear like they do. So
He'll bounce back just fine.
does anybody? I mean, who is the hot coaching hire right now?
Brian Flores.
Besides him, yeah, obviously, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
there's people. Eric Bieniemy is still out there, the Chiefs offensive coordinator.
Brian
Nobody-
Leftwich is
Yeah,
another
Byron
one.
Leftwich, right? That's another one.
And Jim
Look,
Harbaugh, actually.
all these blackhead coaches. Who knows why they won't get hired?
well, that's the other thing is that Brian Flores. It's not a good look because you fired a pretty reasonably successful head coach of color in a league that really struggles with those optics. And like, for example, today's been a weird day for me because the Bears cleaned house more or less up there. And they have, as part of their group that will be interviewing the next general manager, 2 people of color who are specifically in that process to kind of maintain the integrity.
Sure.
And it's a good idea, but it's also one of those things where it's like, gee, I wonder who will have more impact on making the final decision. The nepotistic 3 people in charge, or the 2 minorities who are there because they
The
feel
2-person
guilty.
diversity committee. Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah. It's
I know that if I were Eric Bieniemy at this point, I'd be like, fuck off. I'm not bothering, because how many interviews has that guy been to now and
I know.
never gotten a single gig?
Well, fuck off, don't bother me, and fuck off. I've got Patrick Mahomes for as long as I want to.
Yeah.
So that's
Well, Bieniemy was in a weird position because last year he was one of the hottest candidates, and there was something that came up with driving, some criminal or drunk driving, something like that, right?
He had some things in his past, but I mean, we're not talking like last year or 3 years ago. It's like 20, 30 years ago stuff.
It was just like, come on, man. Like that really, that's what you're gonna say? Oh, we're concerned about character. No.
And
Well,
you're concerned about character issues? Really? Come on.
Well, the thing with him too was the place that was most rumored to like be after him, or at least guys that wanted him, was Houston and Deshaun Watson. And then,
yeah,
that's one of the reasons that Deshaun Watson was already pissed at the Texans, because they wouldn't even give Bieniemy an interview. Instead, they went with, I don't even know who the guy's name is.
I don't know the guy's name either, but I know who he is. He was the guy who happened to be the Chiefs' offensive coordinator the year they didn't score an offensive touchdown.
David Coley.
Yeah,
whoever the fuck.
No, he was either the wide receiver coach or the offensive coordinator. One of the two, I can't remember, but he was someone important on that Chiefs team where they didn't score an offensive passing touchdown for like 10 straight games or something.
Well, he's from the Joel Osteen tree of coaches, and that's important.
Is it? Is it low?
I don't think anybody got the joke, the Joel Osteen part. Not, like you got the Sean McVay tree, and then never mind.
Oh, okay.
So I was going a long way there. I admit.
Here's the list of Eric Bieniemy's legal issues as they were: 1988 bar fight,
1988.
1989 traffic ticket for driving a defective vehicle and for speeding. 1990 license was suspended after another traffic violation. 91 was caught speeding with a suspended license. 91 failed to appear in court. 1990 he also pled no contest to interfering with a firefighter who had been doing his duties to extinguish a fire in his mother's garage.
Okay.
None of this is sounding too terribly awful.
Yeah, it makes me. He sounds like a guy I'd like to hang out with. Basically,
bar fight in 1988 was like, I don't know, like
who didn't get a bar fight violation in 1988?
I never got a violation, but I was involved in a couple.
1993, arrested for allegedly harassing a female parking attendant.
No, that's
that sounds like yo, what the fuck is this ticket about? Like I was in there for 2 seconds.
This was he put his hand on the attendant's neck, startling her. She told police he also made a comment about a bunch of black males all being her worst nightmare, and then his friends took down their pants and started peeing nearby.
I mean, this guy will never be born,
And again, that was 1993, and then the latest possible thing was 2001. He had a DUI in 2001.
Jesus.
Other than the traffic
years?
court lady thing, I don't see anything on there that I would even raise an eyebrow over, to be honest.
I mean, after 20 years, if the guy's been spotless the last 2 decades, it's like how much fucking time does? I mean, if the guy was like a legitimate pedophile or sex fiend or something weird, where like, wow, you really have
came
to watch out.
It came out like last year. He was like harassing the cheerleaders or something, and showed up with a gun to a press conference. Or, like,
not even that. Like if this guy back in the 90s or late 80s was a totally out there pervert or sick fuck,
like say Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh, I mean Ben Roethlisberger. Well, he's white though, so he's fine. So that's okay.
Yeah, but I mean, you do a side by side comparison of their past aggressions, and who looks worse?
Sure. And by the way, just for context as well, the 2001 DUI was just before he got his very first college job as a running backs coach at University of Colorado. Ever since he's been a professionally employed football coach, not a single thing.
Yeah, well,
I don't know, man. It's when you have a bunch of owners, what do they all look like? Bunch of old white dudes, old rich white dudes, pretty much across the board.
How many black coaches do we even have this year?
Mike Tomlin.
All right, well, Mike Tomlin, but he's been there for what, a long time.
Yep.
Well, usually black head coaches are interim coaches that you put on shitty teams and then they get fired so you can hire a white guy. That's generally how it works out.
Well, you had Brian Flores.
Right.
Anthony Lynn used to coach the Chargers. He's gone. Todd,
Well, he's
Todd Bowles.
we're going to get back to the Chargers, but I think they might want Anthony Lynn back.
Oh,
but-
we'll talk about the Chargers.
I didn't see a single minute of that game, so I'll let you guys have it. But it looks like
Oh, you missed a classic, man. It was
As-
incredible.
As of right now, with Brian Flores being fired, it is just Mike Tomlin.
yeah, he's the only one active.
And he's won what? 2 Super Bowls?
One Super Bowl.
Who was it? Cal?
Right.
Yeah, Cowher
won.
Cowher got 40, and then I think Tomlin got 42. I think that was.
he was the coach when they beat the Cardinals, right?
Yes,
Tomlin. And so Cowher was the coach when they beat
the Seahawks. Yes.
Seahawks. Okay. Yeah, that's right. All right.
Yeah.
He's
And
only
then
won
he
one
got to
time.
another Super Bowl where they lost to the Packers.
Right. Okay, so he's been to 2 then, Tomlin has.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Been to 2-1-1. Yeah. And then, of course, never had a losing season ever.
And then, although we might have another black coach in the NFL because Tony Dungy had a suggestion for the Jaguars on Football Night in America this past Sunday.
Jim Caldwell.
Jim Caldwell, yep,
Man,
Who was he with last? Lions?
the Lions,
Yeah.
yeah.
Weren't they halfway
What?
decent when he was there?
Well, that was the joke. You know, things are bad in Detroit when you want Jim Caldwell back.
Yeah, Jim Caldwell's Tony Dungy's buddy. He took over for him when he left.
Right, I
Indianapolis.
remember that. Yeah.
Well, Marvin Lewis was in Cincinnati forever, but like that was the joke that he probably should have been fired 10 years before he was.
Yeah.
No, they've got a horrible track record with that. Here's the thing, and I think I sent you guys the tweet from this. Major League Baseball hired a woman to manage a team in single A baseball.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tampa Tarpon.
We've reached the point where there's, I think it's great. I think it's wonderful, but we've reached the point where a woman is managing a professional baseball team, and we still only have one black coach in the NFL. That seems fucked up to me. I don't know.
we'll give it time. I think it's also just the weird cycle of candidates. Like Todd Bowles is going to get a job this year. That's for certain.
Brian Leftwich probably will.
Yeah. Byron Leftwich is surely getting hired. Brian Flores is going to get hired.
Brian.
The only if somebody wants to put their neck out
All right,
for
so
him.
my point is that in 2022 we shouldn't even be having this conversation.
Oh, of
probably
course.
no, we shouldn't. But
Especially
it's
when it's like a demographics of the league thing. like
mhm.
how what's the I mean I can look it up right now, but it's overwhelmingly
70% of the NFL is black. I think it's 70, 75. Yeah.
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 But yeah, in the
25% are punters. Sorry.
oh, Jesus. But yeah, I don't know. You look at just the candidates. I think a lot of them are. I think we're going to see a lot of black head coaches. Which again, Greg's right. We shouldn't be having this conversation in 2022. But at least the fact that it seems like a lot of the high profile candidates are black coming into this. I don't want to say off season. We're not in the off season yet, but coming into this sort of coaching hire era.
You know what, Mike? Honestly, we've been in this spot before in the last 5-10 years where it's like it looks that way, and then it turns out. I mean, we go back to Eric Bieniemy. There were a couple other coaches. I mean, I remember there was I don't remember the name of the coach or the team, but he basically knew he was just being interviewed because everybody knew they were going to hire whoever they hired. I wish I could remember the team and the specifics.
Yeah,
but
I know you're talking about. I can't remember his name.
But
Was that John Gruden and the Raiders?
No, it was I don't remember exactly. Maybe somebody listening knows, but it was basically he knew he was going in to be interviewed for a head coaching job that he had literally no chance of getting just to fulfill the NFL's diversity requirement, which I thought that's just fucking awful.
Mhm.
It's just a bunch
I hope this time, because there is this bevy of candidates, and there's a litany of open positions now, and it's more of a topic of conversation than ever because of the events of the last 2 years. So I would hope that maybe this inspires somebody to make an inspired choice rather than just another white guy that knew Sean McVay at some point. And also, please stop hiring all of Sean McVay's coaches. It's affecting us now.
I mean, I'm looking at the list of like top candidates that are like the hot names and stuff, and I mean, I don't think there's anybody that's like a total like fraud that shouldn't be on this list. The one that stands out to me as possibly a fraud is the guy from Dallas. He's like 33 years old. Kellen Moore. He's He looks like he just graduated high school, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe he'll be a great coach, but I mean, yeah, same thing with Matt Eberfluss. He looks like he's a kid. He's probably like 40 or something years old. But
well, I think with the success of like McVay and to a lesser degree, what's the dude's name in San Diego? In the Chargers.
Brandon Staley with the Chargers.
Yeah,
Zach Taylor with the Bengals.
Yeah, I mean we're only maybe another season or two away before that's going to pick a senior out of high school and go, here you go, take off.
Yeah.
Well, with the name that really pisses me off that's on this list, and it's on every list every year, is our old friend Josh McDaniels. Once again, they just can't help themselves. Teams just can't help but want to interview this guy.
He's I think after like the third time around, right? Well, once he left the Colts job, it became so apparent that the guy just wants to be Bill Belichick's number 2. And he will be Bill Belichick's number 2 until Bill Belichick eventually retires, and then McDaniels can finally have his day in the sun and fail spectacularly once again, and finally get kicked aside when there's nobody left to vouch for him anymore.
Yeah,
I don't.
And again, the thing he did with the Colts should be
Disqualifying.
Never give him a head coaching job ever again.
Didn't he? He took the job, then he didn't take it, or
he took the job and then quit like 2 weeks later.
Yeah, he basically
Belichick did the same thing. I mean,
but when Belichick did the same thing, he then went on and became Bill Belichick, so he gets a pass on that. And he did it to the Jets, and that's just funny.
And he did it to the Jets to go take another head coaching job, whereas Josh McDaniels did it to the Colts to just go be Bill Belichick's offensive coordinator.
To go back home, basically.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't want to be here.
I mean, he was working for the Patriots when that interview happened. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I believe so. Yeah, he did. It wasn't going from the Broncos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the whole Broncos experience really impacted him. I'm not trying to take his side or anything, but I think the guy basically realized his priorities are I can be a lot more. My kids are here, my family's here, my life has been here, I've had success here. Why the hell?
As Zach said, my TV's already put up on the wall.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
my stuff is here. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, he can tell Bob Kraft where to go get a hand job. He knows all the good places. He's in with that ownership and that organization. It's easy gravy. What is it called? The gravy train or whatever. It's just life is good. He doesn't need to go somewhere with new ownership, new faces. And the last time it happened, it sucked. So why change? But people are still going to interview him. I think it's just an ego stroke at this point. Why bother?
Yeah. Also, we forgot when we were talking about head coaches. Mike Tomlin's the only black head coach, but he's not the only coach of color. To be clear,
Okay.
You have Robert Saleh with
Right.
Jets, who's Middle Eastern, Lebanese, I believe, and then Ron Rivera.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Still,
just to
not
cover
the
all
greatest-
Of the Washington Commander Hogs.
No,
the
jeez.
man hogs.
Anyway, I just still think
We'll get to that next month.
Save that for the off week in the playoffs or whatever. But I think that the fact that we're still having this conversation, or that we even need to have it, is just ridiculous to me. I don't know of another sport. I guess hockey, but that's just a different animal.
That's a demographic thing.
That's a demographic thing. There aren't enough black people interested in hockey for there to be.
Right. Right. Exactly. It's why is there such a lack of black people in polo coaching? Well, because nobody plays polo, and secondly, but yeah, to me it just seems sad because I don't. I guess I don't really follow baseball closely enough anymore, but it doesn't seem like it's as big an issue. And
I don't know. It's like you want a black head coach in the NHL. It's basically Jerome McGinley or Kevin Weeks, and I don't think either of them want to. So
I feel like there are guys that have started doing it at lower levels, like Emerson Edom, if you remember him. He's like a junior hockey coach, trying to make his way through.
Yeah, but I mean, other than the demographic thing aside. Hockey, the NFL is just, it's had this issue. I mean, how long did it take before we finally, and you guys are probably too young to remember this, but before we finally got past hey, you know what, a black guy can play quarterback in this league.
Right. Yeah.
Wouldn't it have been whenever Doug Williams won a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
No, because that still lingered. Would you say Donovan McNabb?
Maybe. I mean,
Steve McNair?
Steve McNair, Donovan McNabb. I mean, it was I remember like when this guy Joe Gillum started over Terry Bradshaw, one of the Steelers during the 70s. And it was just like scandalous. It was like, oh my God, a black guy playing quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was
And then for every positive movement in that direction, there was the Jamarcus Russells of the world that maybe knocked it back a couple pegs.
But that's my point, though.
Look, Jamarcus Russell just wanted to live the American dream. All right,
just wanted to drink purple and play quarterback.
Exactly.
Hey man,
but no,
living.
Well, like who was the guy? Not Dante Culpepper. He was the black guy quarterback for the Vikings when they went 15-1.
Dante or
Warren Moon.
Warren Moon or
No. What's it?
Teddy Bridgewater?
Randall Cunningham.
Cunningham. That's it.
He might have been the beginning of the finally like, hey, maybe this will work after all. Maybe I have to go back and look now, but I mean, it was just you saw guys that like that were good quarterbacks in college, and they'd make them play safety and shit. And it was like, what the fuck is this? I mean,
I think you're right. I think we've gotten past. You look at the roster of quarterbacks across the league now, and there's plenty. Like, not to say that like we don't need more, but just it doesn't seem like it's a problem anymore.
Yeah,
because you get your Tyler Murray's, Lamar Jackson's backup is Tyler Huntley.
It took long enough. That's my point. I mean, and baseball was horrible about Christ, I think it was the Red Sox were the last team to integrate in like 1959, and
of course it was going to be a Boston team,
of course. But as the years progressed, I mean, there was like this unwritten rule: never start more black players than white guys. I mean, and it took I would say probably by the 80s, it was finally to the point where you go.
Hey, the Cardinals are still running with that, and they seem to be doing just fine.
I don't think I don't think they're doing it on purpose, though. That's just like
no. I just think that white guys named Matt just naturally gravitate towards them.
Yeah, that's a demographic.
If a guy shows up to his combine workout in jorts, then it's like, oh, guys, him.
Yeah.
Right. But my point is that it seems like the NFL has been way slower to get to where they need to be than the other three leagues have been.
Yeah,
it's kind of ridiculous. That's just the thing that everybody knows it. I don't think we're making any, we're like breaking any big news here, but it just seems like it shouldn't even be an issue. We should not be on the 10th of January in 2022. We should not be having this discussion yet. Here we are.
Well, I think we're having the discussion because I think it's one of those things. The conversation has to take place because we're not the ones in charge of hiring and promoting these and signing these players. Like,
no, but we should be.
Well, yeah, it's debatable, but the old
Andy, the GM position of the Bears is open.
Right.
Yeah, right. They hired me. Oh boy, bad things.
Here, Mr. McClaskey, here's my blog. If you would like my opinion.
I just basically I'd sit there politely and wait for the owner to die. That's basically what my job would be.
I think we should sign 6 Dickas and we can put a Polish sausage in at running back.
You get some Italian beef, you put it in a crack pot, and then you find a bunch of old Bears with CTE and you sign them to run the team.
Roll it down the field and touchdown.
Yeah. This fucking the owner of the Bears is 99 years old. Jesus Christ.
She ain't fucking dead.
There's no way he has it's Virginia, right?
Virginia, yeah. Mrs. Virginia.
First off, I seriously doubt that. I mean, was she that involved in the day-to-day operations before she took over the team?
I mean, I don't think she ever was. I mean, she's largely ceremonial.
Greg, answer yourself this. Would a 99-year-old woman potentially with dementia running the Bears explain everything?
Well, yeah, it'd explain a lot, actually.
Well, it's a murky thing. If you get into the Bears ownership and management, it gets very apparent very quickly that like these people have no idea what they're doing, and they haven't for a long time. But again, if you see Virginia every time the Bears are on national TV, they got her old ass up in a luxury box. You can clearly see where her like oxygen tank thing has been taken out of her nose, and she's just being propped up like my cousin Vinny. Just like everyone's just
Weekend at Bernie's, man.
Or Weekend at Bernie's. I'm sorry, yeah, and just it's a sad. And her son's an idiot, and her son's the chairman of the team.
So
who-
her son's going to take over when she dies.
yeah. I mean, he basically runs it now. I mean,
It's like Succession in real life, kind of.
that comparison came up a lot today on different radio stations.
Are there siblings to backstab each other? Like,
So the Bears' current chairman of the board is George McCaskey, who, for all intents and purposes, runs the team. And they were asked. He said that we had to fire our GM and coach because of their wins and losses. So they asked him. They said, George, you've been in charge of this team for 11 something years now, and you're like 13-67 or whatever. You're terrible. Why do you get to keep your job? And he said, well, the board has told me that I get to keep the job. Well, the board consists of like his mom and his cousins and his brothers and like two 80-year-old white rich billionaires. Like that's the board.
So it literally is Succession. That's funny.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know if anybody's seen the Hulu series Dope Sick about Purdue Pharma. Sounds a lot like their board, where it was all like cousins and brothers, and yeah, same deal.
It's all this nasty, just incestuous thing, and they all suck. Like they shouldn't. They're not qualified to run it. So
fantastic.
So when the Bears fired everybody this morning, it was a great celebration. Everyone was happy. We don't get much joy as Bears fans, so when this happened, it's like fuck yeah, they actually did the thing. And then the ownership, then McCaskey came on a few hours later and fucking ruined it.
oh,
Had an hour-long Zoom press conference where he just pissed in all our cornflakes and basically said, I'm in charge. Nothing changes. We're going to hire an idiot.
My grandson will be running the team from now on.
he's such a good boy.
He was asked what his mom had to say about it, and he said she was very disappointed in how the team played.
She doesn't know. I thought
She's very
Chicago.
disappointed.
Come
I mean, I bet if you were to go up to Virginia right now and be like, Miss McCaskey, how are you doing today? What do you think about this weather? She'd be like,
She'd ask if you've seen the latest Clark Gable movie or some shit.
she doesn't. Yeah, she wouldn't even know. She'd probably think you were one of her kids or something.
Billy, is that you?
And she'd think her dad George was running around. Dad, Bronco Nagurski felt my skirt again. Oh Christ! That fucking lady wakes up every day hearing the trumpets of angels like calling, like, come on,
Right?
Virginia, it's time. No, I want to run the Bears for another day. Fuck me, right?
There's always next year, Andy.
Yeah. Jesus.
Where do the Bears pick in the first round?
Well, they don't have a first rounder this year.
Oh, good.
They traded it to get Justin Fields.
Oh, right.
That worked out okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, he got COVID at the end of the year, so that's good. And
Well, hopefully
Yeah.
there won't be any next year, so it'll be fine.
yeah, I don't know.
I
Whatever.
gotta say, man, and I don't mean this the way it's gonna sound, but it's like the Browns are kind of looking at you guys and going, "What the fuck are you doing over there?" Which is
No, it's fine.
not a good thing. It's just like when the
Well,
Browns
I mean,
look at you going, "Wow, little
the whole
dysfunction
league.
going on." Yeah,
And part of McCaskey's presentation today was to call out. I don't know if you guys remember the name Olin Kreutz at all.
Oh, yeah.
Olin Kreutz, yeah, he's probably a Hall of Famer, center for the Bears forever. And he went out on he was telling stories about the McCaskey family just a couple weeks ago and mentioned that he was offered a job with the Bears a couple years ago, and they were going to pay him $15 an hour.
wow, good money.
And yeah, and so they asked George about that. They said, "Mr. McCaskey, Olin Kreutz says that you offered him a minimum wage to do this job," and he basically said that he was a liar, and told a bunch of the assembled press like, "This guy's a fucking liar. Don't trust him." And so now they're dropping. Apparently, it's not gone well for George. He's gotten phone calls from him, and I don't know. It's just like this sad, this bumbling organization that I don't know what I did in a past life to end up rooting for this fucking team. But
Well,
It's a
Andy,
punishment.
on the one hand, you're a Bears fan. On the other hand, you are not a Los Angeles, San Diego, Costa Mesa Chargers fan.
do those really exist?
Look,
dozens. There are dozens of them.
look,
Andy.
I'm going to say,
Dozens.
I guess I said this right now. All right, I have never been so sure of a decision in my life than to dump this team, because what I watched last night was just it was
Like-
if you know as a Chargers fan, then you know what just happened. It is the most that they've ever chargered.
Well,
Don't
the
you think, though,
thing
that-
too is they actually tried. They tried so hard to get. They fought like hell to get back in that game, going for it all those fourth downs.
Zach, they always try. They always try.
Am I the only one that was surprised that they didn't miss the extra point after for the tying touchdown?
That would have been hilarious, actually.
I was just sitting there going,
Absolute
there's no
poetry.
fucking way they make this. There's no way they're going to make it.
So as somebody, I missed the. I went to bed early last night. I missed the end of the game. I woke up and I had like 20 missed text messages. You guys talking about this? So could you explain to me, just kind of point for point here, what
So-
happened at the end?
So-
Here's the thing, Andy. There's moments in time where even in this divided nation we live in, that the world comes together to support one idea. And God damn it, we all wanted the Chargers and Raiders to tie.
So basically, the way that it came down, it was poetic, really. If the Chargers won the last game of the season, they would get into the playoffs, Raiders would be out. If the Raiders won, they get into the playoffs, Chargers would be out. But if they tied, they would both get in, and the Steelers would be eliminated.
But Mike, you're leaving out crucial details here. First off, in order for that to even become plausible,
We had to have the Jaguars.
the Jaguars had to beat the Colts,
Which they did.
which they did,
Ugh.
and then the
You
Steelers
get the
had to
Jaguars beat the
Ravens.
Colts. You get the Pittsburgh thing in overtime.
Yeah.
And we wait all night for this because it's like, oh shit. They could we joked at one point, like, haha, wouldn't it be funny if they tied? And then the Raiders went up big, and it's like, oh well, maybe not.
Yeah.
And then son of a bitch, the Chargers, Justin Herbert willed that team into a tie. And
And
we all
I
collectively
remember
looked at each other and said,
he
"Oh, shit."
he threw a touchdown with like 2 seconds left to tie the game.
Get this.
the zeros on the clock.
And get this,
Time expired.
they converted like 6 4th and 10s in a row.
Mhm.
Wow.
19
What?
play
Yeah.
drive. 19 play drive.
This was like watching one of those fucking redneck bastards from New Jersey winning the Powerball in real time. It was just like, this can't even be happening. But
Like
there it
the
is.
Chargers were so blatantly ineffective on first, second, and third down, but they thrived
Yeah.
on fourth down.
And
it was
they-
the craziest thing.
And as Zach said, with zeros on the clock,
Yeah.
Justin Herbert throws a game-tying TD.
It just missiles this thing in there, as he
Yeah.
did on all the fourth down passes. He didn't step back and loft it up because there was no time. He just whipped it as hard as he could at these
It was a
receivers.
fucking laser beam. Just
They all caught it with their chest. It was great.
And so the Chargers avoid preemptive charging. They make the extra point to tie it up.
The Chargers were 6 for 7 on fourth down.
yeah. And
You
then
go to-
They were
four,
four,
right?
They were 4 for 18 on third down, but 6 of 7 on fourth down.
We go to overtime. Raiders get possession. They don't score a TD, they score a field goal. Chargers get possession. They score a field goal. We're tied again. At this point, we're all starting to believe.
Yep.
How much time
Miracle
is
of
left? in this?
unfolding. Like
There
by the time
was-
they were tied, it was like 2 minutes and something.
Yeah.
No, they were tied. The Raider, the first 2 drives of overtime took like 5 minutes. So
Mhm.
the first almost 6 minutes of
Yeah.
the overtime of the 10-minute OT. So the Raiders had the ball for 4:30 before they ended up.
Yeah,
winning
so,
it, but-
so the Raiders get the ball back after the Chargers kick a tying field goal. And they start working down the field. And it's interesting because, again, both teams get in for a tie. And so we're noticing that as the Raiders are they're making short passes, they're making short
running
runs,
the football.
they're
They
running
are
the football,
running the football.
and nobody
Once they got
No-
past midfield, they stopped passing.
and nobody's calling any TDs.
So the clock is just ticking down.
We get to 2 minutes and we're like, holy shit, this is happening, guys. Like they're only at
2-minute warning
midfield.
hits. 2-minute warning hits, and then we get run, and the clock ticks all the way down to 38 seconds, and the Chargers take a timeout.
And we're all going, no!
And you even see right before he called the timeout, they cut to Justin Herbert on the sideline, and you could read his lips that said, "I never wanted a tie so bad right now."
Yeah.
And then they call a timeout. Brandon Staley after the game says that they were running the ball and we didn't have our right run defense in there, so I wanted to take the timeout to get the right guys in there. But that's ignoring the fact that, Brandon, if you had just let them, they were going to run out the clock.
They were handing that fucker to you. It was just
They
like,
were
They weren't in field goal range. So then they take the timeout, and then on the other side of the timeout, they give up a 10-yard run with that new run defense in there to set the Raiders up for a 47-yard field goal. They take the timeout with 2 seconds left and kick the stupid thing because you gave them the time, and we were all sitting there waiting for the tie, and the Chargers were like, no. Watch this. We're going to take the timeout because we're going to still have enough time to win this thing on the other end of it. It's like, oh, no, you are not.
Yeah, no, because
So the win for the Chargers there was the tie, and they actively stopped themselves from doing it.
actively stopped themselves from it, and Derek Carr went into a press conference and said that timeout completely changed what the Raiders were going to do.
yeah, it was like
Again,
the Raiders, like
the Chargers weren't taking timeouts after it wasn't like the 2-minute warning hit and the Chargers started taking timeouts.
No,
It was 2-minute warning,
Two
all the way
run
down to
plays.
38 seconds.
it was.
And not only just that, the Raiders run their play at 1:20.
Mm-hmm.
The Chargers call timeout at 38 seconds.
And not only that, but it was like the Chargers. Once it was like they figured out what was going on, and it was one of those things they had to just stand out of the way and let it happen. We have to Charger this, and there's only one way to do it. We've got to call a timeout. And the Raiders are like, okay, fuck you. If we're going to try to hand it to you, you don't want it, then we'll win. Whatever.
And of
Mhm.
course, everyone on Twitter, like all of social media was going berserk because the only teams that were actively invested in this, well, really the only team that actively wanted a win or a loss was the fucking Steelers.
Well, the urinating
Raiders
tree,
fans, Chargers fans, and everyone else in the football world were like, no, tie is fine. Let's do this. Chaos. Come on.
the urinating tree was doing a live stream and freaking the fuck out because he's a Steelers fan.
It's so funny.
The Steelers, like Yinzer
They kept
Twitter,
cutting to the one Steelers fan in the crowd that like
yeah.
15 minutes ago he was fine, he was having a great time, and then like as they cut later in overtime he starts putting his hands on his head just like, oh my god.
Well, yeah, I mean, just think of the ridicule that guy would have gotten if that fucking game had ended in a tie.
And so we could have had a beautiful tie that
Yeah.
sent both teams to the playoffs and sent the Steelers home and ripped Big Ben's big heroic moment from him.
Yep.
But no.
As I said on the boards, the universe is cold and uncaring, and there is no justice.
What a
Simple as that.
strange
Chargers
set of
exist.
circumstances, too. You know, you have a very rare opportunity
Alignment. Yeah.
where both teams have a mutually beneficial thing. Circumstances are perfect, and you can simply say, like, hey, let's just, we got it here. Let's go to the playoffs, boys. Like, we're done here.
Yeah. Well,
Instead-
and like they did the work during the regulation time of, hey, we tried hard enough to
Yeah.
show that we didn't rig it.
Right.
We
Right.
didn't do this on purpose.
No one would have questioned it after
Except the
Raiders-
Steelers fan. Except Steelers
Yeah, well,
fans.
whatever.
Fuck
Fuck
them.
them. Yeah,
Yeah, but if once they got to overtime, all they had to do was just run or take a knee for 10 minutes, and we would have been home free.
Yep.
But no.
And they even, you know what though, they even played competitive
Yeah.
in the overtime where even if the Raiders, you know what, I'm surprised the kicker for the Raiders didn't like just kick that fucking thing into the sidelines and go, there you go.
Well, I mean, from what it sounds like, that timeout basically said, like, fuck them. Just go.
Yeah, they-
Yeah. The Raiders were playing for the tie until that timeout.
Again, in the field goal they kicked, it was 47 yards. It wasn't like a
No, it
chip
wasn't.
shot.
No.
So they call the timeout, then they give up a 10-yard run. So again, if the Chargers do absolutely nothing, the Raiders are kicking a 50-plus yard field goal if they even try it.
Mm.
It would
But they-
have been 57 yards had they kicked it from that point, which
Yeah.
is not a gimme, and even in an indoor stadium. And I really was surprised that the Raiders kicker didn't just shank it on purpose.
Well, he hasn't missed a kick in that stadium yet. But
But that's what I mean, though. The Chargers, like I said, they could not get out of their own way. It was like the forces of the universe said, no, we cannot allow this. And they didn't know what else to do, so they said, "Well, fuck it, we'll call a timeout and see what happens."
Well,
It was unbelievable.
It's bad for the league because I mean, you want guys like Justin Herbert in the playoffs. You want these young quarterbacks, very talented guys, and especially in the San Diego / LA franchise now, which is has needed a spark, no pun intended. And now you got Ben Roethlisberger, who's nobody wants to see him. It's been an awkward few years since the whole bathroom thing, and it's been time. The circumstances were right for him to just kind of go away.
Anyone who's watched him this season knows he's fucking done.
Oh yeah,
oh my
God.
Totally. Even that game yesterday was just like such a chore. Like
they're gonna lose like 48-7 to the Chiefs next week. Who wants to see that? I don't give a fuck. Take Joe Montana. I don't care. It's like when you're done, you're done, and just enough. And the fucking Chargers, I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. It was like, what is the matter with you? They couldn't stop themselves.
Well, here's the thing with the Chargers too. Like all the drama last night was incredible. Again, because it was the very last seconds of the regular season, week 18, the whole thing. It was incredible. They also got their ass kicked by the Texans 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
If they don't lose to the Texans, they're in the playoffs. No problem.
But at the same time, I was happy with how everything was working out. Going in, like we had a beautiful situation here, and as I said on the boards, we could have had something beautiful. Chargers, we could have had something beautiful.
The amount of incredible things that had to happen to get us to that point, where it was disappointing because it was like in Apollo 13 where they go, we've got like 9,000 things that need to go right, and we're at number 13. We got to like number 8,999 last night. It was like, we're there. The miracle is about to fucking take place, and then it didn't. And that was just the law of big numbers of that.
And in all of this are, the reports that the Chargers players are not happy with their coach calling a timeout. So,
by the way, not to mention with the Chargers like decisions all day, a lot of those fourth downs came late. But let's not forget that this is a team that also went for it on 4th and 1 at their own 18.
Yeah, and that was the one they missed, right?
Yeah, that was the one they messed up because they tried Austin Eckler up the middle for -2 yards. They held the Raiders on the other side for just a field goal, but still.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
All things playing out equally after that, take that field goal away, they win the game in regulation. Yeah. Simple. Whatever.
I'm sorry,
I brought this up on the boards, and I'll just point it out. This team in my life has had Dan Fouts, Hall of Famer at quarterback. Drew Brees, going to be a Hall of Famer at quarterback. Phil Rivers, probably a Hall of Famer at quarterback. And now Justin Herbert. And you know who the guy was that led them to their one Super Bowl?
Stan Humphries. Right?
Stan Humphries. That's to
and,
me.
And
that's,
still, they got blown up by
and
the
then and then the 49ers just like laughed at them as they scored 56 points or whatever.
Yeah,
but that's the Chargers. And it's a shame too, I kind of like the Chargers. I like the uniforms, and not so much as they moved to LA, but before that, they were fun.
Well, I mean, that game last night looked incredible between the Raiders, dark, brooding uniforms, the Chargers, bright, colorful uniforms, all the grass stains,
it was amazing.
So nice.
It was a great football game. It was just unfortunate that it turned out the way it did.
Mike, I mean, you're an expert here to consult on this. When it comes to all-time chargerings, is this a top 5, top 3 chargering?
This is probably the worst. The only thing that comes close is Nate Keating missing those field goals against the Patriots in the 14-2 year. You think you play the Patriots in the playoffs, you pick off Tom Brady 3 times, we're gonna win. No. Because Nate Keating can't hit a fucking field goal.
When I slightly cared about the Chargers, Nate Keating is just a name that I will never forget.
Nate Keating is patient zero when you do the Chargers kicker jersey, like the Browns quarterback jersey.
I just think it's unfortunate that because we all knew they were going to miss the extra point after they got the tying touchdown, right? That was just a given. We figured that was it. That was fun. Good game. Way to go, Raiders. And then they make the extra point, and you're like, well, fuck, this can actually happen. Yeah. And then they could not find another way to do it. Like I said, this was divine intervention, a chargering that they had no control over.
This might be the worst chargering, Zach, because this is the chargering that might get a 30 for 30.
Yeah.
Week 18.
Unbelievable.
What if somebody told you that all you had to do was tie to win?
Let's back up. Let's back up. All the Colts need to do is win, like, what, one game in the last 3, and they fucking can't do it.
When it comes to, I have a personal grievance against the Colts now because the last 2 games of the season for our picking, I had the Colts games. Or no, I had the Colts last week against the fucking Raiders. That's right. It's the Raiders who I picked both times.
Yes.
So I picked the Colts against the Raiders, and then the Raiders beat them. And then I picked the Chargers against the Raiders, and the Raiders beat them. So screw the Raiders.
Speaking of the pick, by the way, repeat.
Congratulations, Mike. You,
da, 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 da.
Well, and actually, really, I thought I was ready to give it to you last week because I figured, the Rams, they've got it on right. They're fine. They're not going to blow this one of the Niners again.
I thought I wouldn't even have to worry about the. Well, see, here's the thing. I feel really bad about it, though, because it's like I didn't want to win like this. Yeah. I would have taken the tie. I would have taken the tie in the Raiders Chargers game over the pick-em.
Right, but a tie would have made me lose too. So I.
Well, I mean, it was like, the Rams won the conference championship in a loss, or the division championship in a loss.
In the middle of overtime, they were like, "Oh, division champions," and it's like, great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so Mike, you finished 12-6, Zach 11-7. I was at 9-9, and Greg at 8-10. So it's not like there was there was two different groups of people picking, 2 that were good and 2 that were 500 essentially.
Well,
so,
Andy, you still made the playoffs.
Oh yeah, I guess so. Well, the thing I was going to say about this game and the weirdness that was Week 18. Yeah, guaranteed that this is not going away anytime soon. Week 18 forever is going to be a thing because, I mean, it was always going to be, but because the NFL loves these when these final couple weeks, especially the last week, determines a lot of the playoff picture, and this one obviously did. I wanted to ask about the Colts situation. So they go to Jacksonville, and there are literally fans, dozens of fans dressed as clowns, and the Colts blow it and lose.
They got their asses kicked. I mean, just blown out.
What
Carson Wentz? It was literally Carson Wentz's least rated game of his career.
So
4.4
Carson Wentz.
PBR.
So Carson Wentz just recently he did enough to merit that the Eagles get the Colts first rounder, right?
Yeah.
And then like a week later, he has the worst game of his career, and the Colts are out of the playoffs because of it.
Yeah. The Colts also, by the way, they've lost 6 road games to Jacksonville, including a game in London.
What the
They have not beaten the Jags in Jacksonville or not outside of Indianapolis since 2014. I think it was. Yeah.
What a weird thing. That is a weird stat.
I don't know where
I
think I saw it on Twitter where they were like, don't sleep on this Colts Jags game. They haven't beaten them in forever. I'm like, wow, really? And but every year though, I mean, think about it. We get like this happens every year. You got a team, all they gotta do is win and they're in, and they fucking can't do it. It's like for a month.
Yeah.
And we get a team that always falls ass backwards into the playoffs. We got it again this year with the Steelers. They got no business being in the playoffs. None. But here they are. It's unbelievable. But yeah, the whole 18-week thing, that's not going anywhere now.
Well,
I think the odd number of games, right, it makes it to this point where you can't have a 500 record, so you're going to have all these weird tiebreakers at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Well, let's look at our playoff matchups real quick here. So on we have our 2 Saturday games. What did you call them, Zach? The Tostino's Pizza Bowl or something?
Well, that's the early game. The early game is reserved for usually the AFC South champion.
Usually it's the Texans, but they haven't been there in a couple years.
Right, but this Bengals-Raiders game is a Totino's Pizza Bowl rematch. They have this exact matchup when Derek Carr got injured that one year.
Right.
That was the Pizza Bowl that year.
All right.
Okay.
And what was the other one?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
The other Saturday game,
Yeah.
Mike, is Patriots Bills.
Pats Bills, yeah.
All right.
Wow, Pats getting moved to a Saturday night. That's like one game away from being irrelevant.
well, no,
that's the Bills. That's not really their fault.
They'll take it just to crush the Bills' dreams again.
I don't think the Patriots are very good. I think they made the playoffs beating up on bad teams.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I would be inclined to agree with that, except for the fact, and I'm not saying they're gonna win anything of note this postseason, but they are 1-1 against the Bills this year.
Yeah,
but the one game they won was the blizzard in Buffalo, where they didn't pass the ball but 3 times.
Now that was a real. You got to kind of throw that one out.
Now again, but to be fair, this game is also gonna. It's clearly right now it's stated for a 13-degree temperature at kickoff with a light dusting of snow. Not the same terrible storm they had the first time, but some snow, very cold.
It's in Buffalo, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh man, a light dusting of snow in Buffalo is like 2 feet.
It's Arctic conditions. Well, I mean, there's a game, that Saturday game in Sin City. That's not going to be exactly a tropical, experience.
26 degrees it says right now.
What is it?
Yeah. 26.
That's not bad for Ohio in January, to be honest. It's not great, but it's about average.
So let's do some picks game by game. We'll just kind of each pick who we're going with, and just for the amusement of keeping track. For the Raiders or Bengals, the sad little game in Saturday afternoon, who are we taking?
This game is both of these teams, you don't know what to make of either one of them. They go out and they win, and then they lose to teams they shouldn't lose to. And
here's my thing with the Raiders. This 4-game winning streak they just had to burst their way into the playoffs. Beat the Browns by 2 points, beat the Broncos by 4 points, beat the Colts by 3 points, beat the Chargers by 3 points. They also had 3 overtime victories this season? 4?
They're surviving. They're getting through. I mean,
I think they had 4 overtime wins this year. Yeesh.
I go ahead, Zach. I was just gonna say I don't see how they can stop Burrow and Chase and Mixon. But
they're rookies in the playoffs, so you never know what you're getting. But
exactly.
Derek Carr is certainly going to be motivated because the last time they made it was when he, broke his leg or whatever the hell happened to him. And again, this team's been motivated for weeks because of all the shit that has happened to them this season. But I got to think that runs out at some point. And the Bengals are also a team that they haven't won a playoff game since 93?
91.
It's been 91. Forever.
I saw
years.
a tweet today. This cracked me up that there's never been in the history of the world a text about Bengals winning a playoff game.
I saw that. Text messaging was invented in 92.
Right.
The Bengals won in 91.
God, the Bengals, I felt like after that Steelers debacle a few years ago, that was like the renewing of a curse. Yeah. It was sort of like a sign. But I think Saturday's the day. I think they'll get a win. I don't think it's going to be a great win, but I got to take the Bengals in that one myself.
I go Bengals as well.
Me too, because of the weather, and the Raiders are, whether they like it or not, they're an indoor team and they're not very good. And the Bengals, if the Bengals show up and play like they're capable of, it should be an easy win for them.
I want good things to happen for bad teams, so I'm picking the Bengals.
One question: was the last time they won the division the year that Carson Palmer blew out his knee in like the first quarter of that game against the Steelers?
Yeah, or was that the year that the Vontaze Burfict game?
They were. Let's see. They've won the division. They won it in 2015. Was the last time they won it.
Was that the Burfict game? Yeah, I think it was.
That sounds correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been the Andy Dalton era then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think that was probably
like if the last time they won the division, they had a quarterback who wore number 9 and blew out his knee and was never the same after that, and now they're in the same spot again, I'd be nervous. But if that's not the case, that's not the case. Okay. Yeah, I'm
okay. So next game, it's going to be the snowy game: Patriots at Bills. Greg, you made it sound like you're not going with the Patriots.
Nah, I think Josh Allen's a difference in this one. I don't think the Patriots are. I think they're okay. I and I can feel comfortable saying this, I don't think Mac Jones is as good as people think he is, because he's not going to. Well, I shouldn't say this because he's not going to run off like 7 Super Bowls for the next 20 fucking years. But whatever. I think it's going to be the Bills just because they're at home and tables will get broken and all that other stuff. But
I'm nervous because this is the Bills conquering demons game.
I was just going to say, this does have like, we're going to fuck this up written all over it, doesn't it?
Maybe, but I think they've conquered the demon already. Like I almost think that the game that they lost to them earlier this season was an outlier.
Yeah,
because they came back and beat them in New England. A couple weeks later. And I mean, that game in Buffalo was 14-10 Patriots, and then the game in New England was 33-21 Bills.
I thought the game, the weird game where the Pats only threw 3 times, that was in New England.
That was in Buffalo.
It was in Buffalo.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go Bills. I think they've got their heads on straight, and they'll take care of them pretty quick.
I'm with the Bills on me too.
I don't know. Bill Belichick in the playoffs scares me.
Yeah, I mean, and rightfully so. Rightfully so.
Are you on the Bills as well, or are you going Pats, Mike?
I feel a darkness coming. I think it's going to be the Patriots.
Okay.
I think, I don't know. Like I'm not saying the Patriots are going to win the conference or the Super Bowl, but I just think that Bill Belichick's going to fuck with Buffalo's day, and we'll all pretend that Mac Jones is the next Tom Brady for a week before they come back down to earth. But I think the Patriots beat the Bills, and I think like darkness prevails.
There's a disturbance. There's a disturbance in sports. It was like suddenly thousands of Bills fans were signing.
We're just focused on Buffalo, and
I really want the Bills to win. I want to pick the Bills,
but you can't. Like
I just feel like Bill Belichick. This is because especially if the weather's bad, I think they'll grunt away to steal this game.
Yeah,
I hate picking the Patriots, but I'm going to pick them, and I feel gross doing it.
Zach and I are the only ones that have any faith in the good side of the force here.
Well, it's like you said, Greg. The universe is cold and uncaring.
This is true. we were proven that was proven to us last night.
Yeah, like
and there is no justice.
Good things don't happen in this football universe.
These guys have bummed me right out.
All right.
Bill Belichick will just go like he's like everything's going as I have foreseen.
Right. You know what's going to happen, don't you? Everything will line up perfectly for the Bills, and then they'll show up and wear those stupid fucking all red uniforms or something, and just completely, yeah.
I imagine they'll go all blue.
Oh,
which won't be great either.
Wear your white pants if you're blue jerseys. Jesus Christ, it's not hard.
No.
Yeah. Sunday's a triple header.
Yeah, let's start with Eagles at the Bucks.
Oh, Bucks all the way.
Yeah, I think this one's pretty easy.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anybody that's going to pick the Eagles.
Does anybody? I mean, it's easy to forget the Eagles even exist at this point, let alone that they make the playoffs.
Someone had to take the slot.
Wow, what an honor!
Somebody had to be the number 7 seed bowl.
Yeah, and of course it was the second.
Those who are about to die, we salute you.
I don't know. The Bucks as a team they're in a lot of flux because of the wide receiver injury situation, and then of course Antonio Brown going insane again. So they still maybe he was never sane, but it's kind of a shaky situation with wide receiver, which is like been the story of this team. Like at the start of the season, the coverage was all fucked up, and now once all the safeties and the quarterbacks started to heal up, then the receiving core went down, and I'm not entirely confident about a deep playoff run by the Bucks, but I think they'll get past Philly.
Yeah, and again, just as a reminder, this is why the Eagles are in the playoffs. Before they lost the finale of the Cowboys. These were the preceding 4 games that vaulted them into a playoff spot. At the Jets, home against the Washingtons, home against the Giants, at the Washingtons, all wins.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Real murderer's row there.
Well, are we feeling similarly about Steelers Chiefs? Clean sweep for the Chiefs, I imagine. Is there anyone picking the Steelers?
No.
Yeah,
No.
Chiefs all the way. Like,
The only real question is how much do they win by?
I want to see if Ben falls down again trying to jog.
like I'm trying to think of like what would be the nightmare scenario to get the Chiefs to lose, besides Patrick Mahomes going down, which
It happened last year.
Yeah, freak turnovers. That's all the hope they have is that for whatever reason,
I
Mahomes
could
is
see
scored
the
a pick.
Steelers defense keeping it respectable, but I don't know how in the world that offense is going to score any points on the road. They can't score points anywhere.
just gotta give it to Najee Harris and hope that they shorten the game to like 5 possessions.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
No, Chiefs. Like I said, I don't even know what the spread is. What's the spread on this? Like 15?
12.5.
All right, that was close.
The Steelers, they'll sign Antonio Brown right before game time. He'll show up with a blonde mustache to the NWO theme and hold the tables return. 49ers at Cowboys, a reasonably compelling game.
First off, I want to talk about the 49ers Rams game. I know it sucked for you, Zach, but that was a really good game too. Really fun to watch. I mean, if you didn't have a horse in the race, which I didn't.
The Rams played exactly how I know they can for the first what would I say? 4/5 of the first half.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, on a 3rd and 1, they went empty backfield and passed the ball. That was the stretch of 10 consecutive pass plays where Matthew Stafford went 1 for 8 for 24 yards, an interception, and 2 sacks. And over the course of those 10 passing plays for the Rams, the Niners went from being down 17-0 to tied 17-17. So the Rams had all the momentum, and then in an instant, they had none of it. Because the 49ers in the second half remembered how they beat the Rams the first time. They just beat the shit out of them. And they ran the ball hard. They played hard on the defensive line, rushing only 4 dudes. So I'm like almost colored towards the Niners in this game because they seem to play their absolute best against the Rams. I haven't really watched any of their games outside of that. And because I see them lose some of these games, like, how the hell are we losing to this stupid Niners team in Jimmy Garoppolo's bum-ass hand? And yet, I think that, like, the biggest thing for me that as like a final stat from the Rams-Niners game, in weeks 15, 16, and 17, the Rams missed a total of 18 tackles. Against the Niners, in one game, they missed 19 tackles.
Jeez.
Which, by the way, the league average is about 8 in a game. So, not great.
You know what the Rams remind me of, and you're not going to like this, but I think like if the Browns were really good, they'd be the Rams with the coaching and the way they do play calling and stuff.
Yeah,
they don't seem to know how to keep their foot on your neck. You know,
well, the problem is McVay and Stafford are always like the team is designed for these explosive plays, so they're always looking downfield, which great when it works, like it did early in the season against, say, your Bears, Andy. But in a game like this, or the last few games, like the interception that Stafford threw in this game, I've seen him throw that same interception at least 6 times, where it's like a 3rd and 10, and instead of throwing a 10-yard route or lining up guys at the line to gain and just picking one, they don't throw to those guys. Instead, he finds the receiver running the deepest downfield in double or sometimes triple coverage and hucks it up there in hopes that the guy will come down with it, and he hasn't. So they eventually kind of switched their philosophy on the game tying drive at the end of the 4th quarter. And it's like, yeah, good. That's what you're supposed to be doing. But the problem was they didn't figure that out earlier. And the defense in its biggest spots didn't come up big at all. So hopefully this is one more punch in the mouth by the 49ers to get them their heads turned around going into the playoffs, which, I mean, we'll talk more about their game in a second. But as it comes to the 49ers, if they play like they do against the Rams, they'll beat the Cowboys.
Yeah.
If they play against like they do with everybody else, It's probably more Cowboy leaning situation.
This Cowboys 49ers game is going to look gorgeous.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Well-
I think I got to go Cowboys.
This might be the toughest matchup to call of the whole thing because
Yeah.
you really don't know what you're going to get with either one of these teams at all.
I think Garoppolo with that hand against the Cowboys front is a different thing, and they're not going to have the same sort of blood in their blood in their eyes motivation that they do to play the Rams to beat the Cowboys.
Well, and now they're in the playoffs, so they needed to win yesterday to get in. That was so
Correct.
I think the Rams were in no matter what, and then when Arizona lost, they clinched the division and it didn't matter at that point. So you can't really write off that kind of stuff. I mean, because once the Rams knew they had the division, what the hell difference did it make if they won or lost yesterday?
Well, if they won, they would have been the second seed playing the Eagles
Oh, okay.
instead of losing and now playing the Cardinals again.
I'm going with the Cowboys. I just think they're a better team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, that San Francisco defense, so they can really wreak some havoc when they want to. And you got Deebo Samuel, who's like just the best player on the field for the 49ers. He's better than he's like. What did he like threw for a touchdown yesterday, ran for one, and almost scored one on. Yeah, so
again, but he looks good against everybody else. He looks like the best player to ever lace up cleats against the Rams.
He's like Tech Mobile Bo Jackson against the Rams for some reason.
It drives me nuts. I used to like my unabashed hate in terms of the division was always the Seahawks, as we know with the Russell Wilson Chronicles.
Hey, at least they didn't make the playoffs this year.
I cannot fucking stand the 49ers and their fans.
Yeah,
They have leaped. I can't do it.
You're
At least we are free of the Seahawks for this postseason. So that's nice.
And maybe even Russell Wilson won't be a Seahawk next year, which will be
and Zach is now a complete 100% Rams fan. He hates the 49ers. That's good.
Well, the thing that didn't help that there's because when the Rams were gone, what team was good at the time when the Rams left? Well, the 49ers, and they're in California, so many people picked up the 49ers fandom in Southern California. So when they come and play, there's still like there was so much red in that stadium yesterday. It was really embarrassing. But
well, I would really quick sidetrack on that. I don't know that. I mean, home field advantage still means a little bit, but in this day and age, and we've talked about it a million times over the 10 years of the show, with all the nationalization of sports and stuff. I don't know that you can really knock a fan. I mean, maybe the Chargers because fuck. I mean, try to get at least 100 people at a game one time, but everybody else. I mean, I've seen it at Browns games. I've even seen it at Packers games, which you think it would be unheard of, but where you'll see a sizable group of the opposing team's fans at every game. There's really no place that's
and there's certain teams, of course, that always do that. The Cowboys, Steelers, Niners.
But yeah, so it's
but speaking of Chargers fans and the Rams, when they put out the schedules after the games end and you know who all your opponents are going to be, the Chargers host the Rams next year, and that'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, you should be able to.
Are they going to do the stadium up in both teams, or are they going to?
It'll certainly bleed blue and yellow.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
I'm going to pick the 49ers because Jimmy Garoppolo is we both went to the same college, which basically means we're best friends and we know each other personally.
Yeah. And he's
he's very handsome.
Yeah, he's a good looking guy.
Handsome devil. But also the Cowboys, fuck them because the America's team bullshit, which is just the worst, most.
Hey! We might be getting a rival to that with the Washingtons.
Oh yeah, true.
The people's team.
The people's team. What a crock of shit.
Sounds rather communistic, comrade.
You're gonna be Washington Comrades. That'd be fun.
Washington Comrades. That would kick ass. I would love that.
Come on, get the logo and go for it.
You want to give everyone at Fox News a collective heart attack?
I'm saying it. Fully embrace the fucking heel turn. Go with it. Why not?
Hammer and sickle on the side of the helmet.
Yeah,
so if they were the Comrades, it'd be so great because every time they scored a touchdown, they would have to let the opponent score a touchdown.
The equal distribution of resources.
And everything.
Nothing would change, is what you're saying, basically.
Everything would be a tie. So out of principle, they would not feel the defense if they scored. They would just graciously let their opponent get an equal amount of points.
Yeah.
No, so the Cowboys have been like the most above average 500 team for the last whatever many years. They're overrated, they're overpromoted, they're overhyped. They get everything, all this promotion and national attention that they don't deserve. So I'm going to go with the 49ers. Plus, if the 49ers win, there's going to be an abundance of great videos on the internet the next day of drunk Cowboys fans punching holes in the wall and breaking their TVs, which is always a blast.
I'm going to go with the 49ers just because I don't have any faith in the Cowboys. Sorry. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think.
And if the 49ers win, we get 49ers Cowboys jersey matchup. And then if the Niners, and then if all these games go as we think they're going to go, Niners Packers.
Ooh. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not so sure I like that all of a sudden. Yeah, I'm going with the Niners. My gut, my complete in-depth analysis, my gut says Niners. That's what I'm going with.
I'm sticking with the Cowboys.
Actually, I'm going with the uniform I like better, which is the 49ers. So, yeah, Niners.
Yeah, all good arguments. Well, Zach, we're finally to your Rams taking on the upstart Cardinals.
Yeah,
Rams.
I'm pissed about this.
Well, it's a shitty matchup because I think that
not even the matchup. I hate that they got pushed to Monday because now I can't.
Oh, that
go.
is shit. Yeah, that is garbage. Yeah.
Like I was looking at the tickets, and luckily, like before the games were over, the cheapest ticket to get in the building was like $140. And then once the game got settled, tickets are going on the resale market for like $70, and it's like, oh, that's half.
Game day, you could probably get in for 20.
But like hell, I want to deal with Monday afternoon traffic going to a playoff game.
It's like I told you, you'd have to leave Sunday night just to get there.
That's not happening. So. And I don't know how they're going to work the schedules next week, but one of these teams is going to be on one less day rest than whoever they play, which is kind of not great, but is what it is.
You almost think they should have put the Totino's Pizza game in the slot. I mean, really.
Well, I don't know what the order was in terms of selecting games because you know how it goes. Like, there's a draft between the
right.
The networks.
Well, isn't Bengals? Who are they playing again? The
Bengals Raiders.
That's on Fox, right?
That's on NBC.
Oh, wait a minute. Because Fox has got an AFC matchup, or maybe that was yesterday.
No, CBS has an NFC matchup.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Fox only has one game this weekend because they're also hosting the Super Bowl.
Okay.
So you get 2 NBC games, 2 CBS games, and then the ESPN game on Monday.
All right.
Anyway.
I'm going to take the Rams in this. The easy choice for me. I think they're home, and the Cardinals are. I don't know. They were good. They were kind of like the reverse Dolphins. They were good at the beginning of the year. Now they're not so hot anymore.
Yeah. Playing a team for a third time is always just so hard.
Yeah.
And both these games have been pretty tight.
The Rams, they're 1-1, right? They split, right?
Yeah, they each won on the road. So the Cardinals won the first game at LA, and then the Rams came back on that Monday night and beat the Cardinals in Arizona. Cardinals, by the way, lost 4 of their last 5 games, with their only win being on the road to the Cowboys.
I mean, if the Steelers are the biggest hack fraud in the playoffs, you're kind of looking sideways at the Cardinals for the NFC equivalent of that, because this is a team that, down the stretch really started to fall apart at the seams.
Well, we talked about it at one point. We're like, the stats show that they get progressively worse as the season's gone on every single year with Kingsbury and Murray. So it's just kind of a weird inverse.
I can't in good conscience select the Cardinals to win. They've kind of just limped into this mess, and no.
Well, this is the rare instance where I actually like the Rams uniforms better than their opponents.
Oh.
Well, I'm curious what they're going to go with, because going into yesterday's game also, a couple of things broke in that Rams game, by the way. One, the Rams are now no longer undefeated when leading at halftime under Sean McVay. So that wonderful stat now goes to the wayside. They are now 45-1.
Damn.
So hopefully never have to hear about that ever again. Secondly, they wore the blue over bone combo, and
which is just unfortunate.
They had been 6-0 in that combo up until yesterday. So curious what they'll go with on Monday.
I mean, the Rams manhandled the Cardinals the last time that we saw them. So I'm thinking that the Rams are gonna win this easily. So I'm picking the Rams.
Contractually obligated to go with the Rams, and I think they will. I don't like what I've seen from the Cardinals. I think the Rams have confidence to play them now, and I don't know. They need to beat the shit out of this team. They like because the way that they've lost to the Niners both times, like they need to beat this team. And then if they win, they'll likely go to Tampa Bay, which wouldn't be so fun.
Bass Playoff Bowl.
Yeah.
Or I guess they would go to Tampa Bay if the Niners win, but if the Cowboys win, they would go to Green Bay.
If we get Tampa, Los Angeles in the playoffs, can that be the Lucky Stripes Bowl?
Sure.
Well, we'll either get one of them. It'll either be Tampa, LA, or Green Bay, LA.
And if it's Tampa, LA, I wonder if they'll continue with their mutually assured death pact and wear their worst uniforms possible.
Oh God, I hope not.
All bone versus all pewter in the playoffs. Let's go.
God,
it drives me nuts that people go in like whenever that goes on, people are like, "Oh, this is the future of uniforms." It's like, no, it's the future of.
But why?
Asphalt. Like, it's bad.
who the fuck looks at that and thinks that's the future of uniforms? I mean, in a good way. Like, I mean, in a bad way, sure, maybe.
The people on the CCSLC who get angry if you say you like, the Packers uniforms. Those people.
Or the 32s, for God's sakes, Jesus.
Yeah, oof.
Oh, we got to. There's some breaking news about that.
But anyway, did we all pick that game? Are we ready to move on?
Yeah.
Rams.
No, I got some small breaking news, by the way.
Okay.
Major development on the West Coast. So at the Ducks game tonight, they're playing the Detroit Red Wings.
Last night.
I'm sorry, this is last night. It was last night.
Yep.
I guess this isn't. No, it's from last night. You're right. So Zach, you probably have more information on this. Could you illuminate us as to who dropped the puck in last night's game?
Well, because the lockout is occurring, and MLB players under contract are not allowed to appear at MLB team affiliated events such as Angels Night at the Ducks game. The Angels were represented by none other than the puck dropping Rally Monkey.
Fuck yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. The Rally Monkey was not bound by the lockout?
No, and the Rally Monkey is not bound by anything. That's what he wants.
The Rally Monkey is a scab.
I gotta say,
Some union breaker with a billy club's gonna kill the Rally Monkey because he's taking somebody's job.
He's a management lackey. Either way,
he showed up. He was in full Angels regalia.
Yeah,
wearing his red uniform with the 1/2 number.
Yep. Huh? And he looks scared as shit. I felt bad for the monkey.
Yeah.
Of course he's scared. He's going to get his knees broken.
Man, I trust the picket line to do this, bitch. Come on.
Well, it was funny too because eventually they put him on a table and then they handed him the puck. And when he got the puck, he turned to the other guy next to him and tried to hand him the puck. And the guy was like, no, you got to drop it. And so the monkey then turned back to the other guy next to him and tried to hand him the puck. He's like, no, drop it on the ground. And then he did give a pretty good puck drop.
Yeah.
And Ryan Getzlaf, took the puck.
Oh,
took the monkey's hand.
My God! The fucking the pictures from this thing.
It's awesome.
It's funny.
Yeah. So he's got a little monkey diaper on, and he's on the table, and
wearing a Ducks jersey.
No, wearing an Angels jersey.
Angels jersey.
Yeah. So he's given the puck, and he kind of gestures like there's a guy to his right. He goes to both sides, and he's like, "I don't fucking want this puck." and the guy on his right basically points to the ice and says, "Throw the fucking puck, you stupid asshole monkey." And he actually, like Zach says, he gives it a hearty toss right to the sticks. Getzlaf.
He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, and he tried to climb onto the table. He didn't want to be out there anymore. Yeah. It was good stuff.
He was surrounded by ice. He's like, "Fuck this, man! I'm out of here."
Lights and people and
I love it.
That's why the Rally Monkey isn't usually live at Angels games. He's on.
Oh, so apparently he tried to hide under the table at first, according to
Yeah, what a I love that he's a scab though. That's gonna
Yeah,
be
he's a scab.
anyway.
It was funny because like I didn't even consider the lockout part when they said, "Oh,
Right.
Angels Night." I just figured, "Oh, I wonder who's going to be there."
Were
And
you-
then I
were
didn't
you
get to
there?
go because I
Oh.
had I was going to go if it was on Thursday, but it got moved due to COVID, and so I had dinner planned.
Oh
on
wow,
Sunday.
yeah, he really tosses that thing.
Well, I think that I don't know. I think that if I had to pick of all the Angels, I think I'd pick Rally Monkey too. I think he'd be the best one to see at something
Well,
like
I
that.
mean, I'd like Mike Trout to have shown up or Shohei
Yeah, the Trout's
Ohtani.
just
or-
going to drop the puck and leave. The Rally
He
Monkey
tosses
makes it fun.
he tosses the puck and then tries to hide under the table again.
Yeah, Mike
Jesus.
Trout's not doing that shit. Come on.
No, but Trout's a big hockey fan. He does show up at Ducks games when he's in town.
Yeah, but he's still not going to
But-
hide under the table.
Yeah, but still, it's I assumed that it was a Ducks event so the players could show up. But I guess if you were a player at this point, why would you do anything the team asked you to show up at either? So
Leave it to baseball too. We can get into the lockout. We're going to have plenty of time to talk about it, but yeah.
Baseball self-sabotage itself with
Imagine that.
with union troubles. No.
Right. What are the odds? All right,
Well, we
what's
got-
the next game?
We got the national championship taking place right now.
Oh, how's
there's a
that?
game?
Yeah.
Alabama's up like 38-0 already, right?
It's 3-0 Alabama.
I've already committed to not giving this game a single second of my time. Like I have the
That's
score
fine.
thing up on my computer just to see what the score is. I don't want to watch it. Just tell me who wins.
The SEC wins.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we all lose.
as usual.
You know, the one to me, what's the more important bit of news this week was that Jackson State, Deion Sanders, Jackson State got another
another
big
top recruit.
Yeah.
and
They got the number 1 guy, and this was what, the number 5 guy?
something like I think so. Yeah, and I mean I love between that and NIL money and players getting paid to go somewhere. I love it. I hope it all goes to hell. I hope the whole thing is turned on its head.
Did you guys see that? I don't. It was somebody, one of the sports people I think we all follow on Twitter, said that basically with the NIL thing and Alabama not being able to do the normal, under behind the scenes money payoffs and all that, that it's going to level the playing field eventually.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, because they can't blatantly cheat. And I mean, come on.
No, yeah, because
I'm
I
not going to sit here
think
and
I
act like
saw,
Ohio State's like Pierce the driven snow, while Alabama's not. But I mean, they can't do the deals anymore. Why would you?
I thought I saw where was it Saban said that there should be like some sort of regulatory committee on that stuff.
Okay,
And it's like, oh, you want the guys to
Yeah,
regulate
right.
that?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. How
No,
about we regulate
sorry.
where coaches go? And
You-
these guys
you-
also want to regulate the transfer portal, which, by the way, is bonkers. Like Lincoln Riley is taking his quarterbacks from Oklahoma to USC. It's kind of wild.
But you know what, though? It's about time, because how many years, and oh my God, I mean, it's been forever, where college football, or colleges, I should say, made all this money on the backs of these players, and they got not fuck all anything for it. If you wanted it, like say if you were, like say Jim Harbaugh does leave Michigan, and one of his quarterbacks is like, well, this is why I came here. Now I got to like wait a year before I can go anywhere else. That's nonsense.
Well, as I mean, South Park parodied it. Like they just flat out called them
years ago.
slaves.
Years
That was-
ago. Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
So
College athletes.
You're not going to hear me like going, oh, this is awful. No, fuck them. You know what? Make as much money as you can get. And if Deion Sanders can keep picking off, 5-star recruits, good for him. More power to him. Go
And you
Jackson
got,
State.
I don't know, and then you've got like the guy, the one college athlete who the Panthers are paying to presumably wear their jersey around campus or something. Like, good for you. Good for
Yeah,
you.
I got no issue with any of it. Are we done with the playoff games? Is that it?
That's it.
That's all.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
Oh, all right. I thought we had another one somewhere in there. I guess not.
Nope.
No, that's all
Nope.
6.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, we got say there's been a lot of stuff. Hockey's been weird lately because they're moving everything around.
Well, the big hockey news is that, guys, hold on to your hats, hold on to your butts. The Tempe deal is not going to happen for the Coyotes.
Well, again,
Kidding.
I read the story, and I guess they have a backup plan for like some Indian land next door.
Oh, sure.
God
All right.
damn it! What a bunch of assholes! Oh, we can't get this land.
Let's go fuck the Indians one more time.
No, the Indians we're offering them the land.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Yeah. That's what all those treaties said to us.
I mean, we were offering the land back then too, right?
Look, I will say the
Greg's gonna go protest this. Of like,
I think it's the Pima Indians.
Dude, I'm used to it.
The
I think it's
Visa.
the Pima Indians that they are out there, and they have a whole bunch of casinos, and they have the big facility where the Diamondbacks and Rockies play, the Salt River thing. That's on Indian land.
okay, here's the thing. I will be okay with the Coyotes putting a team on the Indian reservation if the tribe has to own the team.
I want to see the fucking paperwork on this deal, and I think we should run it past a bunch of lawyers.
See, this is where this is actually where America needs something like Canada has. Canada has the Royal Proclamation of 1763, which states that Indian land cannot be seized without a good faith negotiated treaty. So that's where Hey, a bunch of native tribes actually got very rich recently due to that, because it turned out that Vancouver was not seized on the up and up. So
imagine my surprise.
So the courts said that the government had to pay the local native tribes like a whole bunch of in compensation. So
man, I just love that the Coyotes, they're like in the conference room sitting around and like, well, we could always just rob the Indians.
Debbie won't give us the land for the stadium.
I just
are the Coyotes gonna roll up in like fucking like 1700s colonial uniforms and just be like,
right, well,
we claim this land?
We'll give you some corn and some tobacco, some whiskey, and a Bible. Get the hell out of here.
A Bible? Jesus Christ.
So my parents were at ironically, they were at a Coyotes Blackhawks game the other day, which the Blackhawks lost. And I told my mom, like, I want to get some Kachina merch. So if you see some, cool Kachina stuff, grab me a hat or a shirt or something. It's like $50 for a hat or a shirt. Like a plain ass hat and a plain ass shirt.
Yeah, because basically the Coyotes are run by Hispanic Trump.
It's like you should be paying me to take your merchandise. What, you
sad sack team that's getting evicted? Like, fuck you.
That's the excuse they're going to use when they fuck the Indians over. They paid us, really. Honest.
Okay, question.
Smallpox blankets.
Fuck. So, question. Because Indian reservations in the United States technically have their own sovereignty, right?
I believe so.
Technically, okay. So if the Coyotes come in and just take the land, would that make it an invasion of sovereign territory? And if so, would that make the stadium site a disputed like territory or potentially an independent country?
I thought they had a deal, like a backup deal. It says the Coyotes could pursue a deal with the nearby Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian community.
Well, yeah, they could. They gotta, they've got to assemble their forces first along the border before they.
I wonder how much of that is like negotiation, though. Like they're trying to get Tempe to turn on them. I mean, I think what we're going to end up with, guys, is they're not going to have a fucking place to play.
Yeah, they're not going to have a place to play. And the hilarious, well, what I thought was the most hilarious thing about the story before we started talking about the Coyotes just seizing land from the Indians, Jesus Christ, was the fact that the reason why the Tempe situation looks not great for them is because there are enough city council members in Tempe who are leaning to vote no due to the fact that the Coyotes don't pay their taxes.
Oh, you what? Why would somebody think they have a bad track record with that?
Yeah, right. What was that?
Right. Well, that's the thing. Is like you're moving on. It's like, okay, you're leaving your current building because you're not paying your taxes and your rent on time. So what sort of promises are
Guarantee?
you going to give
Yeah.
the next group that, hey, no, we promise we're going to do it this time? Like, come on, guys.
Well, if they move to Indian territory, there are a lot of taxes they won't have to pay. Believe it or
Well,
not.
I mean,
not like federal. I mean, still some federal income tax and all that, but there are. Well, let's see.
I wonder if they do that, would they be allowed to put like slot machines in the arena?
Well, wouldn't there be more of like
That would be an NHL call more than I think than a
Like-
legal thing. Yeah.
like they couldn't sell alcohol there? I don't think. So
Why
I thought that there was some restrictions on selling alcohol in certain. I can't remember.
I
could be
think.
pulling it out of my
I
head.
think in cases like this, the way that I understand it is that when it comes to stuff like this, entertainment complexes in on reservation land, it's like the tribe kind of sets their own rules, and so
They have to operate within the framework of obviously of federal law. I mean, you can't. I mean, there's certain things they can get away with, but you can't go like, hey, you know what? Like, we're going to make, I don't know, say heroin use legal. That they're not allowed to do, but there are certain things that they can kind of. I know that, like on the Onondaga Nation, when I lived in Syracuse, you could buy stuff there cheap because there was I think no state tax, no local tax in any of it, and a lot of people would go there to buy goods because it was cheaper. But I don't know. I mean,
Dennis makes a good point. Having been to a Golden Knights game, yeah, they don't have slots in the Vegas arena either.
well, you don't need one. You don't need one when the arena is connected by a tunnel to the Bellagio.
Right.
Well,
but I think that would be a league thing more than it would be a. I think that like was it the Maricopa Indians are gonna.
But then
Team
again,
Maricopa,
wouldn't that be so perfectly Coyotes to be like even more gaudy about gambling than the team that actually plays in Vegas?
well, again, Mike, you've been to Vegas. It's right.
Yeah.
It's connected to the New York, and the sports book for the New York just so happens to be by the exit that leads to the arena.
Yep. You
Like,
walk
that
right
was not
through
done,
it.
that was not done on purpose. That's just where it was when they built the arena. But it's
By
like,
accident, right?
convenient.
Get a convenient accent. It's funny how these things just work out, Yeah. But yeah, the I don't know. I just think I actually think that'd be hilarious if the Coyotes actually just put slot machines in their illegally stolen land arena.
I mean, but it would give them better reason to use the Kachina logo, right?
Yeah, I
It
guess.
would make more sense.
Tribe has to own the team. Like that's the.
I think what I think would be hilarious,
Mm.
just absolutely fucking hilarious, is if the tribe did take over the team, right?
hmm
And they came up with like just the most offensive fucking logo you could think of, and like, what are you gonna do about it?
Well, I mean, I think that the Coyotes owner, whose name escapes me, he's kind of an asshole.
Alex Marullo.
Like
Yeah,
I said, he's the Hispanic Trump, basically.
He is part of the problem as to why they can't get a new deal. I think that people just don't really
Well,
want
yeah,
to work with him.
Because he's a shady businessman who, his hockey team is getting evicted because they don't pay rent. So,
Whatever. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. That's for sure.
They'll send Phil Kessel out to some, tribal land with a bottle of whiskey and some maize or something, and be like, "Yeah, you got to get this done, Phil." And I hope they
in addition to that, a flag with the Coyotes logo on it, so he can plant it right down and claim it in the name of the Coyotes.
I don't know. I would love if they just beat the shit out of whoever they send out there. Like, hey, so we're gonna build a facility out here. Oh yeah, okay. Well, here's what we think about that.
Well, like the it's just so dumb because when people have pointed out, right? Because you've got the Suns Arena in Phoenix proper.
Yep.
And then you've got the jobbing.com arena, which I know that's not what it's called anymore, but fuck it. That's what
Gila
it'll always
River,
be.
I believe.
It's always going to be the jobbing.com arena to me. That's in Glendale, which is a suburb of Phoenix. And then Tempe is within the Phoenix metro area, I think.
It's technically a suburb, but it's right there. It's nestled in between Phoenix and Scotts. It's east of Phoenix, south of Scottsdale. They're bordering all these cities.
Okay.
It's where ASU is. It's not nowhere. It is the middle. It is in the middle of everything else.
But yeah, so fact that like even if this like Tempe proposal somehow gets through, you're gonna have like 3 major arena venues in what is essentially one metropolitan area.
No, it'd be one. I mean, beyond that, they also have an amphitheater and the fairgrounds arena that they use for concerts still. That was talked about as a potential like halfway point for the Coyotes.
Well, for it to work as a halfway point, you need an end point, which is
right, which is the other problem. And it sounds like the Coyotes are still of the belief that when push comes to shove, they'll still be able to make some sort of year by year agreement with Glendale, and it's like, why would anyone do that?
It's a mess.
Unless Gary Bettman signs a like $10 million check himself. I don't know why anyone.
Gary doesn't have that cash. He's already spent the Seattle expansion money on hookers and blow.
Here's the check. Please don't cash it till the 13th of the month. Don't ask why.
We forgot to discuss our Zach and I's near rendezvous in Arizona over Christmas. Yeah, we were like 30 minutes away from each other.
We're breathing the same air.
Yeah, we're both like I don't know. You were kind of northwest, and I was
in Glendale, and you were in Scottsdale.
Yeah, it was super weird, but pretty
opposite
cool.
sides of town. But again, as we said, I think the closest we've ever been, and any of us have ever been to each other at any point.
I thought that Mike and Greg were close.
Yeah, well, I don't think we were as close to Scottsdale and wherever Zach was, but
you were in Tampa, I think, or driving through at one point.
I went to Clearwater a couple times while I was down there last winter, which is, I don't know how far that is from you, Mike.
That's about it depends on traffic, honestly.
Yeah, it could be like 3 days or 15 minutes. Just
you could be stuck on that fucking bridge for 3 days if you hit it at the wrong time. But it's around that. But I don't know. No, we've all got to meet up for the Omaha Beef game. That was the
I think that we would
live broadcast from the game with sirloin.
Right. I think we would have met up last year when I was down there, but COVID was still.
COVID was still a concern, and the state was still taking it seriously. Now, if you come down, like everything's open, nobody fucking cares. So
you know what? It was open when I was there. It's really, I don't know what the difference would be at this point. But
no, that's right, because you saw like the lynching tree and shit. Yeah,
cool, man. Lynching tree, the hanging tree.
Right.
The hanging tree. God bless Florida.
The Confederate statue that it's in the front of the courthouse, I think it is, or the
we decided that the best solution would be to replace it with a statue of Bray Wyatt because he was like from there.
I talked about it back then, but I'll say it's spooky as fuck, man, to be around that thing. It's really weird, and I guess that maybe it's because I'm from the north and I'm not used to it, and I would hope no one's used to it, but seeing that Confederate statue was just like a shock. It was like, wow, these things are real. I can almost like go, okay, with like a historical figure, I almost get it, but this was just a fucking Confederate soldier dude that a bunch of women back in like 1910 decided, you know what, we're going to honor these guys. And it was I forget what the saying was on the other side of the statue, but I was like, whoa, this is just really messed up. And
what is this? What is Andrew Luck's facial hair?
I mean,
I don't know.
He's had a mustache.
He looks like he's slimmed down too. There was another picture, him and RG3 standing next to each other doing promotional shit out on ESPN, which is just
surprised he never came back. I'm kind of a little surprised that he never came back.
What, Andrew Luck?
Yeah.
No, I'm not surprised at all.
No, he seemed pretty committed at the time to being done, and good for him. He looks like he's not going to the gym to bulk up that arm every day, and now he's just living weird mustache life.
I mean, I imagine that after he made the money he did, to have the opportunity to retire as young as he did and not get the shit beat out of you every year. I think it's a wise choice that he did. But he looks. I've seen a bunch of people being like, "Oh man, Freddie Mercury, look, the whole like." He's terrifyingly thin. He's so gaunt. But that's just football. Like there's so many, pictures of guys who stop playing in the NFL after a few years. They drop like 100 pounds and stop taking PEDs.
All those, especially the linemen. When you see some of these linemen after they retire, it's like, whoa.
I was going to bring up Joe Thomas. You guys remember him, the lineman from the Browns, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't recognize that dude right now if you saw him.
No,
it's like you seem to go. There's no way you play offensive line in the NFL. You're too small. He looks like a normal dude now. It's really weird.
Yeah, don't have to keep forcing their bodies to hold an extra 200 pounds of crap.
Yeah. Before we head out today, I did want to slide in a Zach's tab.
Oh, well, by all means,
Mike, if you could.
Zach's tabs.
There we go. Lined up. Sorry, so we'll just have to go with that.
Sorry. Interesting story out of the Los Angeles Police Department today.
Oh, nothing bad ever comes out of that.
I think I know what this is going to be. Go ahead.
Two LAPD officers have been fired today.
Oh, for
instead of responding to an attempted burglary, they they went to go catch a Snorlax on Pokemon Go instead.
Priorities.
Yeah, right.
They were being fired, and then they appealed the decision, saying that we were just talking about Pokemon. We weren't actually catching them. And hey, you shouldn't be listening to you shouldn't be recording our squad car conversations anyway. That appeal was denied. Somebody had the excerpts, but it was basically like they were talking about Pokemon. They were playing Pokemon Go, and they're like, "Hey, there's a Snorlax off Crenshaw and 46th." He's like, "Oh, I can swing around there." And right as they're doing that, you get 10-4. This is we got a burglary in progress on whatever. And the guy says, "Screw it. Let's go over here." A Togetic just appeared on the map. So they go.
Sorry about the robbery, but we got a Pokemon. We got
right. This
you protected serve.
And at some point they said, got him. And it was like, but you would think, if a police officer says, got him, that means they arrested someone. No. He got the Snorlax.
Oh, good. Yeah. Good.
And then they went around the corner. They went around the corner to get the Togetic, and that was giving him a really hard time. But he eventually caught him.
It's a Togetic.
And got him. So
that's good.
LAPD got their man, or Mon, as it were.
Wow.
Well, it's lest we be too harsh in judgment. It takes a lot of commitment to be the very best.
I thought you were going to bring up the. Did you guys see the thing where they? They saved this guy that landed his airplane on the train tracks, and they got him off the plane like seconds before the train.
My buddy's a TV reporter down in San Diego. He sent me that video.
Yeah,
insane! Literally seconds before. Yeah. The guy is bleeding from the head and the arm and whatever the hell else.
Yeah.
And they get him out, and half a second later, just plows through the airplane.
Yeah, I mean, it was like something out of a movie. It was amazing. That's what I thought you were going to bring up. But I think the Pokemon thing, I mean, this was great, but the Pokemon thing, come on.
Yeah, that's just funny.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, weird stuff. That is wild and crazy stuff.
Johnny Carson making an appearance.
Really good show.
Pokemon. Oh, Jesus. I don't know. There's something about that's just comical.
Also, adults playing Pokemon Go in the year 2022, I enjoyed Pokemon Go at its first summer height. It was an incredible social experiment, but you can put it away now.
I can't believe it. I didn't know it was still a thing.
Yeah, wasn't it like 3 or 4 years ago? That was like,
it was pre-COVID. It was pre-COVID.
5 or 6, dude. Yeah. It was quite a while ago.
Oh my God! The legal paper about it is they actually have the documents. This is hilarious.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Some fucking the Togetic. Oh my God! Don't run away! Don't run away! Holy crap, man! This thing's fighting the crap out of me. Holy crap! Finally,
put that audio over an actual arrest happening, and it's no different. But just play that audio and be like, "What are these officers talking about?" And you would say, "Oh, well, they're arresting the burglar." Clearly, and you'd be like, "You're wrong. They were tackling a Snorlax."
Well, so we got the national championship tonight. Well, we can, I guess, talk about that next week. We got Washington's name and uniforms unveiled in 3 weeks. What else is there coming up?
I just want to say one more thing before we go about the whole Washington thing. 32s is a great name, and everyone else who doesn't think that can just fuck off and die. So
I agree.
There we go. Let's get that out of the way.
We'll have the playoffs to go for a bit, but then this is like the dead period because now we're also going to get to the NHL's All-Star break, and then whether or not they're actually going to reschedule games into the Winter Olympic period.
Right.
But don't forget too, we're not that far removed from the 2022 GTOV either. So
we got to figure out our.
We got 2 months.
We got to figure out our draft situation too. What are we drafting this year?
I like the TV show idea a lot. The
like 90s TV shows.
Yeah,
90s TV shows. Okay.
Oh shit! You know, how do we get through this whole thing without talking about Bob Saget too?
Oh yeah, we have no new info on him, right? Just
Not
well,
yet,
the autopsy I thought came back clean, like no drugs.
right.
I'm betting.
So-
You know what? I'm almost willing to bet it's a heart attack because he's young for that, but it's not off the charts unusual.
Yeah, and I was reading his Wikipedia just to kind of catch up on some of other things I didn't know about him, and his family has had many different medical ailments at different points in time. Yeah, like his sister died of a rare skin disease, and I think his dad died of some intestinal thing. Oh, he had a gangrenous appendix that had to get taken out when he was 18 or 20 or something like that.
Well, you know, they found it. He put out a tweet like 12 hours before they found him. He had a stand-up set in Orlando and seemed perfectly normal. So
Seemed like
I
a
don't
positive.
know. Yeah, I'm betting it's a heart attack. I mean, as someone who knows, you can be walking around one day and just go fuck. I mean, they can literally just come out of the blue like that. So that's my guess.
A family friend had a undiagnosed heart condition and just fell down. Done.
Yep.
That
So
was
there's no possibility of an autoerotic asphyxiation here then.
it. doesn't sound like it.
Okay.
But
Well, I just from what I heard, he was pretty wild. He liked it pretty weird, but
Yeah, he was. I don't know about that part, but yeah, he was. And that's the thing too. When you brought up the drug thing, I always thought he was known as a bit of a partier back in the day. Now maybe he's not anymore, but
he was drinker, drugs, the whole thing.
You do enough cocaine and that's going to fuck your heart up too. Now maybe not when you're doing it, but it's not great for it over the years. So there's a lot of different things that could have combined to lead to where he ended up.
Sure.
It's unfortunate. Yeah, he's awfully young. I mean, 65. That seemed old to me like 30 years ago, but now it's like, well, that's not very old at all.
And he's a guy that meant a whole lot to a lot of different generations. Like
oh yeah, well,
for some people he's Full House guy. Other people he's American Home Videos. Other people he's the future narrator on How I Met Your Mother. For other people, he is just the raunchy comic. It's.
I got to be honest. When I saw his stand-up act, I was like, "Holy fuck!"
Yeah.
Well, if you only knew him from Full House, then that stand-up act is.
I never watched Full House, but I watched a lot of it because America's Funniest Home Videos was the precursor to YouTube.
Sure.
And he just seemed like such a wholesome guy. And then I'm like, this can't be the same Bob Saget. There's like two of them or something. But yeah, it was. And then he did the voiceover thing for How I Met Your Mother, and yeah, he used to be on Howard Stern quite a bit too back in the day. And that's where really he like come on and he'd be like, fuck this, fuck that. I'm like, wait, that's Bob Saget? Come on. But,
well, he had a hell of a career. And
he did. He really did.
Plenty of people that he worked with came out with nothing but great things to say about him. Not rare for a guy that famous that nobody was like, yeah, he was a dick.
Yeah, that's
I think it was funny because I think Tom Arnold of all people said the only people that were mean to Bob Saget or Bob Saget was mean to were his best friends. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of a nice way to put it.
Yeah, I don't remember. I mean, even back before all this, I don't recall anybody ever going, yeah, that guy's really a jackass.
Yeah.
That would talk about him and stuff. But yeah, it's a shame. It's awfully young. But we'll find out. I mean, we'll get to the bottom of it, I'm sure. But I'm betting on heart problems.
We'll see.
But it's one of those, they come in threes, right? You had Betty White just before 100, Sidney Poitier, and Bob Saget.
Man, Betty White. Well, have you guys seen that? Like the People magazine that came out, Betty White.
Yeah, they had it all set to go.
I saw one in the wild at a grocery store yesterday. And at first I was like, well, this could be a valuable collector's piece. And I thought, no, they're going to print them by the fucking thousands now because everybody wants to buy them up.
Yeah,
but they're going to be worth anything. But it was crazy.
Another death that occurred was I don't know if you guys watched the documentary from a few years ago, The Jinx.
No.
Oh,
about
Robert Durst. Yeah.
Robert Durst. So anyway, Robert Durst, he's a
Oh
murderer.
yeah, the murderer guy.
Yeah, so he total murder. He died in prison over the weekend.
Pig.
And funnily enough, so when he died on Twitter, trending in music was Limp Bizkit, and I think a lot of people
Oh.
confused him with Fred Durst. But anyway, Fred Durst is still alive, still very much alive, I think. So
Well,
wearing
I think
a backwards red hat somewhere.
the backwards red Yankees hat. That was
That's right.
I also wanted to bring up on that topic, and I can't remember now. No, it's not-
Well, the only other thing I have left to talk about tonight, and who knows, it might actually become a topic in the future, depending on how the show goes. But serious Fresh Prince of Bel Air is happening now.
I saw that.
I saw the
Gritty
side-by-side.
reboot of Fresh Prince.
Yeah, I saw the side by side photos. Can we stop doing this?
I don't know. I don't know who was asking for like not fat Uncle Phil and like high school all-star Carlton, but
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, it's just called Bel Air, right?
Yeah, just Bel Air. Yeah.
Oh, I know what I was going to say regarding Betty White. I think her birthday is January 17th.
Yeah.
she was real.
And
was
I'm
close.
going to use this moment to pimp for a cause. Everyone, it would be great if you could all donate like $5 to your local animal shelter on Betty White's birthday. That would be a big thing for her, and it would be really cool of you to do. So look it up, figure out how to do it, and do it, assholes. All right.
That's gonna sell people on it.
Yeah, that's a good. I like it's a good stop point.
I couldn't be too much of a softie there. I mean, I'd ruin my whole
Sure.
reputation.
Greg insulting the listeners is always a fine way to end the show.
That should be a GTOV entry.
Sure.
Hold on, what was it? Coyote smallpox blankets. That's gold. I like that.
Yeah.
Jesus
Add it. So somebody put it in the Discord for sure.
All right, are we done, fellas?
Yeah, let's
I
lock
think
it up.
so. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, we will see you all. Oh, wait, let's get one more comment in here. Let's see. What was it? Was it? Oh,
We're not getting the Carlton dance.
I'm sure you are. It's just gonna be like some. I don't know.
It'll be
I
the
don't even
dark.
know.
It'll be the
real
serious and gritty Carlton
It'd be
dance.
like dabbing or something.
It'll be a waltz or something.
Ooh,
Yeah.
oh, Andy, you're needing a new show to check out. If you've got HBO Max, it's a limited series, but check out Station 11. It's weird, but it's kind of cool. You might enjoy it. So, all right. On that note, folks, we're going to call it a night. We will see you all next week. Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Subscribe via Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the Stitcher, the YouTubes, and wherever fine podcasting is sold. We will see you all next week.
Latest.
Bye.
Adios.